One of the things that we talk about with our clients is knowing their numbers. And at the moment, I'm getting a few questions about the increased cost of living, increased fuel costs, inflation, the employer's NIC, the fact that it's 1.25%, or the fact that the employer's NI is going up by 1.25%. So not only are employees getting less take home pay, but the employer's costs are going up as well. Then what does this mean, and how can they retain their staff? Do they need to increase their wages? What's the impact of increasing their wages? So I've done a very rough example just to talk through in broad terms what this impact could be if you go ahead and implement a wages increase. So what we've got here is a manufacturing company that operates on a 30% gross profit margin. So they've got £3 million worth of sales. Cost of sales are 2.1 million, gross profit of 900,000, leaving them with a 30% gross profit. I've assumed for this example they've got an average sales price of £2,000, so to generate that £3 million, they're doing 1,500 sales every year. So what happens if there's a wages and price increase? So in this case, I've increased it up to 2,231,250. So an increase of 6.25%. Again, assuming the cost of sales was all labour. So £131,000 increase. Now, if their sales don't increase, then their margin decreases. Net gross profit is only now 768,750. Margin of 26%. They're still doing 1,500 sales to get that £3 million turnover, but obviously they're losing £131,000 on the gross profit, and assuming all their admin costs are the same, flows down to the net profit as well. So if we're looking at it and we're saying net profit, in this example was 200,000, or let's say 300,000, and 10% of the turnover, then in this instance we've got a profit of 168,750. So a decrease in the net profit by 131,250, as I said, and that's a 43% decrease, 44% decrease. So pretty chunky impact on the bottom line. So how can we counteract that? How do we get back to that £900,000 net gross profit? So one way is to increase the number of customers you've got. So in this case, if we keep the margin the same, so if we assume that the cost of sales goes up at the same ratio, 26%, we need to get 3.5 million of sales to get the £900,000. Now that equates to an extra £500,000 in sales, obviously, which is a 70% increase. Or the same way here, I've said 3.5 divided by the £2,000 average is 1,756 sales. So an extra 256 sales a year. So again, if we break that down into the months, extra 21 sales every month this business needs to generate in order to maintain that gross profit margin and the net profit margin of 10%. So probably the easiest way to do it, and the way that people are probably most scared of doing, though, is actually increasing the prices. In this case, if we put a 4.38% price increase, but we're able to then improve the margin, then with the same cost of sales, 131,250 increase, same cost of sales, we're getting £900,000 gross profit. So the margin in that case is 28.7%, still not up at the 30% that we had along here, but slightly better and resulting in the same net profit of the 300,000. And that's only a 4.38% price increase. So that may well be the most effective solution. You've already got your customers. Think how much hard work, think of the customer acquisition costs there are, the time, the energy to go and win an extra £500,000 of business, an extra 17% compared to your existing client base. That's a 4.38%. What if you put on an 8% increase? You could probably afford to lose some customers and still make the same amount of net profit.